Last Saturday night, Christina invited her friend Jessica over for a sleepover. They enjoyed a night of watching movies, snacking, and gossiping. As they were getting tired, Christina asked her butler, Edward, to retrieve them some late-night tea. Edward shortly returned with the teacups, placing them on the table behind them. The maid, Gertrude, entered the room to tidy up and remove some of the empty snack plates. As Gertrude was making her exit, Christina's mother, Beatrice, entered the room to say goodnight to Christina and Jessica. After saying goodnight, Jessica went to the bathroom, and then the two came to the table to drink their tea. The next morning, Jessica was found dead with no obvious wounds or signs of puncturing. Her autopsy report showed that her cause of death was poisoning. Friends and family of the suspects revealed hidden details about each of their relationships, which has caused speculation in the identity of the true killer. Edward the butler was often treated poorly by Jessica. She would mess with the table settings and break expensive wine bottles in the cellar, blaming it on him. This got him into trouble with Beatrice frequently. Jessica was often rude to Gertrude, calling her names and intentionally making messes to make her job harder. Christina often felt jealous of Jessica because she had more money, fancier clothes, and was more popular at school than her. Beatrice was aware of how Christina felt about Jessica and was protective over her daughter. As you can see, each of them had a motive. 2 DNA samples were found on Jessica's cup of tea that was poisoned. The DNA was amplified for 2 different VNTR loci and was run on separate gels to create DNA fingerprints. These samples were then compared to each of the 4 suspects' DNA as well as Jessica's DNA. If we observe the gels for these 2 VNTR loci, we can compare each suspect's fingerprint to the collected samples and determine who committed this murder. Examining sample 1, we can see that Jessica, Christina, and Edward match all alleles at VNTR locus 1. This automatically excludes Beatrice and Gertrude from being identified to this sample. At VNTR locus 2, Jessica and Beatrice match all the alleles, but knowing that Beatrice does not match all the alleles at VNTR locus 1, we know that this sample cannot belong to her. Since Jessica matches all alleles perfectly at VNTR locus 1 and 2, she can be identified to sample 1 on the teacup. Examining sample 2, we can see that Beatrice and Gertrude match all alleles at VNTR locus 1. This automatically excludes Jessica, Christina, and Edward from being identified to this sample. At VNTR locus 2, Beatrice and Jessica match all alleles, but knowing that Jessica does not match all alleles at VNTR locus 1, we can exclude her from being identified to sample 2. Since Beatrice matches all alleles perfectly at VNTR locus 1 and 2, she can be identified to sample 2 on the teacup. This means that since Beatrice can be identified to the only other DNA evidence present on the teacup, she was likely the perpetrator of this crime. We can also observe that Christina is the daughter of Beatrice because the two share at least one identical allele at VNTR locus 1 and 2. Since one allele is received from each parent, the shared alleles Christina has were given from her mother, and the unshared alleles were given from her father.